Hello everybody and welcome to our English as Second Language Oxford AQA reading paper. Today we're working on October 2024 reading exam. The purpose is to finish all the exam paper, or at least the most challenging questions. As you can see, the first part of the exam starts with the email question or text one, usually the easiest text, and this is the nature of Oxford AQA examination. They usually provide students with easy questions first. What you need to do is to save as much time as possible. My recommendation is to read the first part of the heading of the question first. You will recognize that this is an email from someone to someone else, usually from a friend to another. What you need to do, read the question first here. Do not read the email, read the question. When did Hong go to the restaurant? This type of questions is what we call finding or locating details question. When did Hong go to the restaurant? The best strategy here is to underline or highlight keywords. The keyword you're looking for here is when, the time. Usually there is more than one option available in the passage, more than one time mentioned. Only one is your correct answer. When did Hong go to the restaurant? Sometimes you will be faced by a distractor, like here. I hope you are keeping well. I had a very nice meal with my family last week to celebrate my birthday. We went to the restaurant at 7:30 p.m. A piece of cake. How to write your answer in the designated area. You will see the square here. You should copy the answer in uppercase letter like this. Do not use lowercase letters. You should not use A. You should use an uppercase letter, similar to the way I've just written it. طيب. What if you change your mind and want to write a different answer? What should I do? What you need to do is simple. If you change your mind, just cross your answer like this and draw a square and write your answer next to it. Okay? For example, if your answer is B and instead of A, or vice versa. All right? So this is how we answer questions. Now, sometimes students just circle the answer or underline the answer. This is not recognized by examiners. So be very careful not to lose any marks just because you wrote the answer in an incorrect way. Now, let's go to the next question. As you can see, question 2, 3, 4 will be find detailed questions or locating detailed questions, like how much did the whole meal cost. Now, this question number 3, I'm going to skip number 2. Question 3, what is the main point of paragraph 2? This is another type of questions. This type of questions asks students to identify the main idea of a paragraph. To locate the main idea of a paragraph, you just need to read the entire paragraph, especially the topic sentence. Now let's look at paragraph 2 before we even read the questions or the options. We usually go to Indian restaurants, but this time we went to a Turkish restaurant. We had some very nice starters served with bread. Then we had a very large plate with all different kinds of meat and chicken. As you can see, he is narrating the details of the experience. Now let's go to the options, and this is question 3. What is the main point of paragraph 2? I have 3 options. I have 3 answer choices. Number 1, to describe Indian food. Number 2 is to describe the meal as a whole, or to describe the vegetarian options. Usually using the trimming options. Try to trim unnecessary options or totally incorrect or irrelevant options beforehand, before you start. The first one that you can easily trim is option C, to describe the vegetarian options, because that's not the case here. You have 2 options left, to describe Indian food or to describe the meal as a whole. When we go back to the question, to the paragraph again, you will notice that they had some nice starters served with bread, then had very large plate with all different kinds of meat. There were also vegetarian options. So that's a kind of a holistic approach in the description. They are providing the description as a whole. He's describing it as a whole. So my option would be, yes, definitely be to describe the meal as a whole. This is the keyword that led me to choose the answer, because the choice Indian food is incorrect based on the paragraph. It was not just dedicated to describing Indian food. It was indeed describing the entire meal. Now let's move to the next set of questions. As you can see, passages in reading, Oxford AQA reading, are not presented as a whole extended or prolonged passage. They are usually divided into parts, part 1, part 2, in which a couple of paragraphs is presented in part 1 and a couple of paragraphs is presented in part 2. Part 2 is based on paragraph 3, 4, and 5, and questions are question 4 and 5, question 4, 2, question 6, 4, 5, and 6. This type of question is easy. Which statement is correct? Again, this exercise targets your skill of identifying details through reading or skimming and scanning. That's an easy, relatively easy question. Which statement is correct? According to paragraph 3, 4, and 5, which statement is correct? Three colleges will be taking part, or 5 or 10. Definitely, the word college is your keyword that you should scan the passage very quickly and try to identify two important keywords, the word college and the word taking part. At the first glance, you will see there will be 10 colleges, including ours. We have to send a team between 3 and 5 students. I don't see the word colleges repeated many times here, but when I look at the answer, I can easily recognize that 10 is the best fit here. Because the numbers, if this happens, you should fix it. The number of colleges mentioned is just 10 colleges. The distractor used was 3, 5, but that was not a college, that was just student. 5 sections, another number, and the rest of them are hours or dates. Let's move to a more complex question. What is the main purpose of the second part of the email? I've skipped this question, number 5, because it is similar to the previous questions. The target is to show you how we tackle different types of questions. What is the main purpose of the second part of the email? The second part of the email is about paragraph 3, 4, and 5. Why is it written? Why are these 3 parts written? As you can see, he's introducing the event from a different perspective. Our college is going to take part in an inter-college quiz. There will be 10 colleges, including ours, blah, blah, blah. Now, let's go to the options available. What is the main purpose? This is your keyword here of the second part. You can see that we have 3 different wording used: to ask, to persuade, or to ask again. To ask Yushan to take part in the quiz, or is it to persuade Yushan to go to university? That's too broad, isn't it? And to ask Yushan to some science questions. This is easy when you can match the keywords with the passage. As you can see, he was primarily talking about the quiz. Of course, he's not going to convince his friend to go to university, nor is he going to ask his friend about some science questions. The question answer is A. Now, we have just finished text 1. Text 1 is usually the easiest text. Text 2 is more challenging. A wider range of questions will be introduced in text 2. The most important thing to do here is to recognize the title. The title is Discover Qatar. Discover Qatar. Read the first part of the article. That's an article. which gives, it's very important here to read the brief summary of the article provided in the subheading, which gives advice. So this is the main idea. If you wish to recognize the main idea of the entire article, you will see it here, which gives advice about holiday activities in Qatar. All right. So that's the main purpose. What I will see throughout the entire article is advice about holiday activities. Every single word adds more information and confines the passage more and more. The first paragraph, a very quick glance at the first paragraph will be very helpful here. Qatar is a peninsula surrounded by the Arabian Sea, and it has sunny weather for all of the year. The capital of Qatar is Doha, blah, blah, blah. Information that I might be very familiar with. Now, look at the first question. From paragraph 1, give one example of why Doha is a popular destination. Your skill of matching synonyms, vocabulary and their synonyms will be tested very well here. Let's see how. Now, I'm looking for a word similar to the word popular. You're looking for reasons why Doha is popular. Where? In the first paragraph. Now, let's go back here. The capital is Doha, where around 40% of the population lives. There is plenty to discover in Doha and Qatar as well. Doha has beautiful beaches. That's the first reason. All right. So I can simply write beautiful beaches, family-friendly attractions, rich cultural experience. I think he has already provided plenty of them. 1, 2, 3, more popular than ever with visitors. That's why it is more popular than ever. My advice to you is to lift your answer here. Do not depend on paraphrasing. What you need to do is to just write the answer as they are. All right. So you can simply write beautiful beaches. Beautiful beaches. And that's it. Do not write more than needed. Since only one mark is awarded, your answer should match the required number of marks. So do not write 2 options. Write only one option that you are 100% confident is correct. How long is Qatar's coastline? Now, we're looking at a very specific piece of information, and you can easily recognize it is 550 kilometers of coastline. You can easily locate such pieces of information. طبعا, we're moving to another set of questions here. From paragraph 2, that's a very specific mention. List 2 water sports activities. Which of these statements best describe the main point of paragraph 3? That's a more challenging question that I'm going to tackle here with you. Defining or recognizing the main idea of a paragraph question. Let's go back to paragraph 3. I'm going to read this paragraph. In particular, Doha is well known for being friendly to families. So it's a great destination for young and old travelers. So I think, judging by the topic sentence, he's talking about why Doha is popular and is going to mention in particular why it is popular for families. Your children can be creative, while you can make the most of the wonderful open spaces. For families looking for exciting experience, blah, blah, blah. Now, I can go to the options and see which of the given options matches the main idea. Remember that there is one very obviously unclear, irrelevant option that you can easily trim or get rid of. تعالوا نشوف هو أنهي واحد. What is the main point of paragraph 3? Is it to give advice about art and craft in Doha? I don't think so. It's totally irrelevant. I wouldn't go for this option. To give advice to families, that's the first keyword that matches what I read about things to do in Doha. C, to give advice about theme parks in Doha. That's a very specific answer. When recognizing the main idea of a paragraph, stay clear of 2 options. 2 narrow and 2 specific options, 2 broad and 2 irrelevant options. You can easily get rid of A and C. Your answer is definitely B. Now let's move to the next part of the text. This will cover paragraph 4 and 5. This is, as you can see, paragraph 4, followed by another 2 correct statements, recognize 2 correct statements option. That's a bit tricky. That's why I'm gonna try to tackle it from paragraph 4, which 2 statements are correct. The game is a matching game here. What you need to do is to underline key words. Now, we're gonna go through the options first before we go to the paragraph. There's not much is my keyword, to see for nature lovers. Doha has a large whale shark population, Qatar cares for its environment. The whale sharks are in zoos. Even if you live in Qatar, even if your information or background information about Qatar is too brilliant, try not to depend on anything but the passage itself. Now let's go to paragraph 4 and read it very quickly. You'll find many things to see and do in Qatar if you are interested in nature and the environment. I think I've read something like this. Yeah, he's going to talk about nature here. Qatar cares for its nature. The whale sharks of Qatar are especially fascinating. Doha has one of the largest group of whales sharks in the world. Remember, we're looking for the correct option. Sometimes they write the word incorrect, which of the 2 statements are incorrect. So it's not always the ask for correct options to be pointed out. Sometimes they trick you and ask you to point out the incorrect options. Which 2 statements are correct? Now I can see he's talking about how fascinating it is. Doha has one of the largest groups of whale sharks in the world. What that mentioned? Yeah, it has a large whale shark population. And here he said one of the largest. So I'm gonna point this out and write it here. It is definitely B. Now let's move to the second part. You won't wait to miss this splendid chance to observe these wonderful creatures in their natural environment. Qatar is committed to preserving the country's natural habitat. This matches the second option we've just seen. Qatar cares for its environment. So I'm gonna definitely go for the third option. Reading the last one, the whale sharks are in zoos, I think he just debunked this by saying that it is in the open. All right. Now let's move to the next question. The next question is define the phrase question, one of the most challenging questions that students might struggle with. But understanding the nature of this question will help you a lot when you attempt answering it. In paragraph 5, the writer says, lively and diverse. Lively and diverse. You will be awarded 2 marks if you can explain in your own words what the phrase lively and diverse mean. For this type of question, you need to understand that you can't use the same wording used in the phrase itself, in the original phrase. So I can't use the word lively, I cannot use the word diverse. And at the same time, I should not provide a dictionary definition. I should go to the paragraph 5, understand what is meant by lively and diverse, link it to the paragraph, then explain it in my own language. You should not confine your answer and limit your answer to just 1 or 2 words. Feel free to write a couple of words, a fragment of a sentence, or even a sentence, if this would help you explain the phrase. Explain in your own words what the phrase lively and diverse means. Now let's go back to the passage, visit it, underline keywords here. I'm gonna locate it very quickly. Yeah, he said here, the city's heritage is both lively and diverse. So I'll be very careful and read a sentence. I will read a sentence before it and a sentence after it. Doha has also a thriving culture. So culture enthusiasts will also find plenty to explore in Doha, including the stunning National Museum of Qatar and the world-class Museum of Islamic Art. Interesting. The city's heritage, that's what we call in Arabic al-mawruth al-thaqafi wal-mawruth what we have inherited from our ancestors in terms of culture, in terms of monuments, is both lively and diverse. So we're talking about the heritage here. That is the target noun that is defined as lively and diverse. So visitors can have a deeper understanding of Qatar's traditions and culture. Now, to write this or to define this in your own language, you will need to recognize what is meant by lively here. Lively here can mean vibrant, or full of energy, all right? Full of life, energetic. Now, diverse, I can hear you saying, think, pause the video and think, what does diverse mean in this sentence? We're talking about a wide range of traditions, a wide range of cultures. So the word diverse here refers to varied, wide range of activities, varied activities. You can also use something like, of course, I can't use the word diverse or any similar word to diverse, but I can use something like wide range of, all right, or wide-ranging. You can use the word wide-ranging, okay? Now, how to compose your answer? How to compose your answer? There is a challenge here. To keep your answer as precise and short as possible, you should not write a very extended response, a very extended answer. Do not be scammed by the number of lines written here or given, provided for you. Just write a short fragment or a short sentence. All right, so you can write something like, Qatar's, go back to the passage quickly, we're talking about heritage, all right? Qatar's heritage is both, Qatar's heritage is both vibrant and wide-ranged. This is the easiest way to guarantee the 2 marks. It saves your time. It makes sure that you do not go off topic or define things that you should not have defined. Just stick to the given part of the paragraph, link it to the paragraph, make sure you define only the needed parts. Qatar's heritage is both vibrant and wide-ranged. You can change the word heritage by things that you can see and do related to Qatar's culture are both vibrant and wide-ranged. Now, how many marks would you guarantee here if you write a similar answer? Your answer will grant you 2 out of 2. Now, let's go to more similar questions. I'm going to skip the questions that we've covered earlier. You will see a similar question here in question 17. In paragraph 2, the writer says, reluctant. Reluctant, according to Cambridge and Oxford Dictionary, means unwilling to do something. Unwilling or sluggish, unwilling to do something. Now let's go to the passage. It is in paragraph 2. Gonna find this word in paragraph 2 in the passage and see what reluctant means here. The fight has not stopped yet. Recently, the U.S. women's tradition Recently, the U.S. women's national team took the reluctant U.S. Football Federation to court. So it looks like I'm going to have to read the introduction, recognize the passage in order to be able to answer this part, because there is some kind of a fight between two different institutions in the USA here. Women's football has consistently overcome challenges and achieved remarkable progress over the years. حلو قوي الكلام ده. Through more than a century of setbacks, bans, and prejudices, women have fought for football. حلو. People who want political change and people who enjoy the freedom of playing have been fighting. All right, I can understand that there is a fight between two different parties. The first is the women teams in one hand, and the other would be the U.S. Women's National, the Federation itself, U.S. Football Federation. Now, I understand that this means U.S. Football Federation was unwilling to allow something. Okay, let's see what they were not allowed to do. People who want political change and people who enjoy the freedom of playing have been fighting for women's football. Recently, women's football is seeing the investment and the support it has been lacking. Yet, despite women winning the right to play football, that's the main problem we're looking for, the women's game gets attacked more than other sports, especially online. The fight hasn't stopped yet. Recently, the U.S. women's national team took the reluctant U.S. Football Federation to court. Why? The women's team wanted to fight for the same pay and funding as the men's team. So you should always understand the main idea, because this will help you define the phrase. Now let's define it. Explain in your own words what reluctant means according to paragraph 2. The easiest and most suitable answer would be unwilling to cooperate, unwilling or hesitant to allow. All right? So I can easily say U.S. Football Federation is unwilling to allow equal fund as to women's teams as men's teams. Okay? Unwilling, hesitant, or any similar answer. What if a student only writes the word unwilling to allow? It might be permitted as well, and it might be accepted. Right? Now let's move to more challenging questions that can be found in a more extended phrase like this one. In paragraph 3, the writer says, despite this, they remained highly skilled. Now let's go to paragraph 3 and see where the phrase is. We can simply recognize this phrase here. Women in the past have faced many challenges in order to play football. For example, Arsenal legend Alex Scott had to wash the team's kit, and goalkeeper Nicola Hobbs had to work as a firefighter. Farah Williams had to go back to a homeless shelter after training. Many women had to cope with little or no medical or physiotherapy assistance during their careers. Most women essentially had to pay to play. As you can see, the phrase we're targeting is right at the end of the paragraph, and it reads, despite this, they remained highly skilled. The extended part of the sentence shows that we're talking about the physical part of a skill and the mental part of being skilled as well. To tackle this question, what you need to do is to go very quickly and recognize the number of marks awarded. Highly is the first part of the meaning that should be recognized, and the word highly can be defined as top level. Skilled, I would go for talented, all right? And the entire phrase would be defined as the women's team or the women's football team faced many challenges. However, they remained will be defined as something like preserved, their top level of talented performance. And this way, we've answered this exercise or this question to guarantee the 2 marks.